Hey there, Wranglers. How you doing? It's sure good to see you again. Today we're going to talk about stuff that I normally don't talk about. This is kind of off the map. It's not true crime. It's not paranormal. It's not it's unusual. Today we're going to talk about my dating tips, my first date no-nos, okay? So that I can warn you, boys and girls, and whatever else gender you want to be, what to do and what not to do for dating. Okay. First of all, here's something I see that I've actually watched this firsthand. Guys tend to talk too much on the first date. I remember one time I was sitting at a bar and I was playing trivia, not like bar trivia, but like you have the little box and they have big television screens that come up with questions and you push the answer on the box and you get a score and all that. So I'm playing that, just enjoying myself, and I'm sitting next to this couple, and the guy just won't shut up. He's just talking a blue streak, and she hasn't said anything. And he starts talking about, well, yeah, and I also volunteer at the Children's Hospital. I think he had talked about a boat that he had, and then he's like, I also volunteer at the Children's Hospital. She and he, what I think what happened then is he got up to excuse himself, and as soon as he did that, she hit the road. She was out of there. He comes back and he's looking around and she is gone. I mean, this guy just talked to Blue Streak about how great he is. Don't do that, guys. Okay, don't do that. Listen. Let her ask questions. Okay, women love to ask questions and dig around in things and find out things on their own, and they like you. They like you to listen to them and let them talk. Okay, that's first date no number one. The other one is for this is I've seen mostly ladies do this one is don't bring friends to a date, especially not a first date. That's just bad and disrespectful. I've heard stories of women who've even brought like their whole family and expect the guy that asked them out to pay for everything without telling him. They just all show up. And luckily, the guy had in one case I remember the guy did the stuff. He bought the meals, and in another case, the guy just left them sitting there and let them do their thing. He didn't invite them out for a date. He invited her out for a date. Or they're sitting there, and I've had this happen to me, and I ended it quick. I had a date with a girl, and she gets on the phone and she calls her friends to come meet us, and I'm like, and she was having a good time. When she did that, I wasn't having a good time. I left. That's disrespectful. This is not a night out with her and her friends, or I'm kind of a third wheel, or you're kind of a third wheel. This is supposed to be us getting to know each other. When that happens, bye. If she does something like that, calls her friend or whatever, even if they live in the neighborhood, no is bad. Okay. Anything is fine for a first date. Some people will tell you, get very upset if they don't get, taken out to a five-star dinner or something like that. And I've seen stuff on Instagram like girls don't settle for a coffee date. Make him take you out for dinner. No, if he wants to take you out for dinner, that's fine. If it's a coffee date, fine. A lot of this has to do with how well you know each other before you start that first date. If you've been talking to a girl for 3 or 4 months and you really are hitting it off and she's legit who she says she is, and you finally want to meet and make it special, I think a nice meal at a first date is fine. If you just meet her, you talk to her for, whatever, a really brief time, 15 minutes or so, enough to set up the date, then something like a coffee date's appropriate. Okay, that's good, or whatever, something putt putt golf or whatever. I don't know, something like that's casual. It depends on the thing, but no, nobody's entitled to a five-star meal on the first date when you're just getting to know somebody. It takes planning to do something nice. I had this happen to me once. Not that the woman expected a five-star meal, but I invited her out. I actually had been talking to her for quite a while, and I had made plans. She liked art. I had found a cafe that was right next to an art walk, and I made us reservations. We were going to go to the cafe, have dinner, and do the art walk, which was around this lake. And I thought this is going to be really nice, we're going to talk and all that. Well, I'm on my way. I pick her up, and she goes, "Hey, can we go see my friend's kid in this rodeo?" And I'm like, "Okay." I guess so. I mean, I didn't know if we were still on for dinner or not. I didn't know if so. We get over there and we watched this kid's rodeo, which was kind of fun. Kid was durable, man. I tell you what, that those he was getting bucked around and all that. And he must have been 8 or 9 years old. I wouldn't let my kid do this, but this kid just bounced around like he was made of rubber, and the kid was fine. But so we sat there, we watched the whole rodeo in the freezing cold. Then for dinner there was like a barn type restaurant thing next to it with dancing and country music and all that. We ended up in that place and we had dinner there, which was a nice dinner. And then then I was going to take her home because I had had enough. And we started driving, and she just, and we're driving. I'm expecting her to be like, hey, I'll take it right here, take a left here. Well, I should have asked. I didn't. We end up almost in the mountains. This was in Colorado. I ended up headed up towards into the mountains, like to Estes Park, where the Shining Hotel is. She lives nowhere near there. And I'm like, I think we missed a turn somewhere. We need to go. She goes, oh, I was just enjoy talking to you and doing this and that. And I'm like, oh, thanks. I drove all the way up here, an hour long drive, and now you're having me drive around some more. I didn't say that. I'm thinking this. I finally took her home, and I thought, okay, we've been at this long old date. Maybe she's going to invite me in for something, a drink or whatever. Nope. Just jumps out of the car and goes inside. Okay, fine. I'm turning around. I'm heading home, and next day I hear from her. Oh, I had a great time. I want to see you again, and all that kind of thing. Well, she and I did date a few more times, but I tell you what, that I planned something nice. This was kind of along the lines of don't bring your friends. It's just turned out to be she just took me along to an activity she wanted to do after I'd planned this out. And again, didn't get much of a chance to know each other except for me stressed out driving around up in the mountains in the middle of the night, wondering where the hell I'm at, how I'm going to get her home, and how I'm going to get home. So no, that's a no, no, don't do it. All right. And then so that's anything goes for a first date. These are so that is a yes, yes. That's something you can do. There's if she's expecting lobster and surf and turf and whatever else for the first date, I think that could be outrageous. Anyway, other kind of things that you don't want to happen. I'm not going to go into detail. Is you don't want to do something overtly gross like shit yourself on the first date or piss yourself or any of that kind of stuff. Some drunk people I know have done that. You don't want to get too drunk. I don't know how many dates I've ruined because they couldn't handle my lifestyle choices at certain times. I'll say that, and then. But anyway, no, I mean most of the first dates I've had are pretty good. The and I've had a lot of them, and I am married, by the way, and I'm usually in long-term relationships, even when I'm married. I've been with my wife a long time, been with my girlfriend a long time. They know each other, they get along. Let me see what else. You don't want to. Oh, you don't want to talk about past relationships, and that's a no-no. Forget them. They never happened. You can talk about them about 4 months into the solid relationship once they happen. Okay, before that, we don't. It doesn't matter. And guys, another thing is, don't. You see this all over Facebook. Oh, it takes a real man to raise some other man's kids. No, that man should be raising his own kids. You are no obligation to raise somebody else's kids and be the stepdad or whatever. You're not under that obligation. Okay, so it's completely fair if this woman has kids for you not to date her. She could be just whatever, out of the picture. Or if the guy's having huge problems with his ex-wife and the kids, girls, you don't have to date him. Stay out of that mess. There's plenty that don't, okay? You're no obligation to take on somebody else's problems like that. So that's a no-no, and don't do it. I love kids, but it doesn't mean I'm gonna be a cuckold and raise another person's kids. In fact, you see, this doesn't even happen in the animal kingdom. When a lion takes over a pride, he kills all the other cubs from the other male lions. That's true. I'm not saying go kill anybody. That's ridiculous. That's just nonsense. But that gives you some idea of how nature works, and it happens in a lot of different species. The males will wipe out the offspring of the other males. So, as a human being, you are not obliged to take care of another man's problems. Even if the poor lady has 4 different baby daddies and she's having a hard time supporting her, and you kind of like her or whatever, that doesn't mean you're all of a sudden you're the what do you call it? The provider for these people. No, it's not worth it. There's plenty of single folks out there on both sides that you can choose. So sorry if that hurts some feelings and breaks some hearts, but deal with it. It's the truth, okay? I'm giving you some good advice here. Most of you aren't going to listen to it. You think you know better. And each one of these, some of you are out there, I know better, and I know this instance where this happened, and or I with my girlfriend for 17 years, and she had 3 kids by another guy, and now they call me daddy and all that kind of thing. It's like, well, congratulations, you've lost the genetic lottery. Bam. Okay, so now you're not going to convince me. I want you to try to convince me in the comments, but you're not going to convince me because you're wrong. I'm right, you're wrong. And that's one thing you got to learn about the Neon Wrangler. I'm always right. Okay. Now, enough of that crap. Like and subscribe if you dig the video. And I want to show you my my merch. You can go to my Etsy account. It's in my description on my page. And you can get all kinds of cool merch like this hat. Looks great on the ladies. You can get stickers that you can put on your Telecaster or any guitar you have. They stick on anything. That's why they call them stickers. They don't have to be guitars. It can be anything you want to stick them on. Coffee mug. This is the Coffee Zombie mug. This one's really popular, actually. It's a zombie that says coffee, coffee, coffee. And people like it. The Neon Wrangler coffee mug, the best coffee mug ever made. 15 ounces of truth right there. Okay. There's the hat. I got a gray one with a black patch. I kind of like the gray one, but you can get all different color. Black is what they sell. It was one of the ones they sell. I'm gonna get me a black one too here pretty soon. There's a guy wearing a black one. He looks almost as good as I do. Not quite as handsome as me, but close. And there's our young lady again. So anyway, there's the merch that we got. And so give it a shot, like and subscribe, and notify all that crap and that YouTube junk. And I want to personally thank you for being my audience. I really appreciate you guys. This isn't about the money. I don't mind selling the merch and all that, but I'm gonna keep doing this. And I like the interactions I have with you guys. I like what I'm doing, and it's really enjoyable. And you guys are great. I mean, seriously, I of all the subscribers and followers I've got, I think I've got one of the better, even though it's teeny tiny, one of the better communities on YouTube. I love it. I love my Wranglers. All right, guys, I'll see you at the next roundup. Bye.